The stars looked peaceful from a distance, but the galaxy was anything but. Across dozens of star systems, smoke drifted over broken cities. Space stations spun silently after being gutted from the inside. The Zarn Dominion, an old and merciless alien empire, was winning the war. No species could stop them. Not the tall, wise Serani, not the fast-moving Vortans, not the stubborn, rock-skinned Thraka. Everyone had tried. Everyone had failed. The Council of Allied Species, once full of pride and promises, had gone quiet. Their leaders now only whispered behind closed doors. They had only one option left: send a call for help. One last message across deep space. They sent it to Sol. The humans had not been seen in galactic affairs for 30 years. After the last border war, they had retreated to their own star systems. While others built alliances and armies, the humans vanished behind a thick wall of silence and encryption. Some believed they were gone for good. Others thought they were just hiding, licking their wounds. No one knew for sure. Not until today. At the very edge of the war zone in the system of Corvessa, something strange appeared on the sensors of a small Volari outpost. At first it looked like a shadow, then a blinking signal, then hundreds of blinking signals. A fleet. No, a human fleet. The Volari officer on duty dropped his datapad. They came, he whispered. The council rushed to verify the data. Within hours the image was confirmed. Over 200 human ships were entering the war zone, silently, without asking permission. No request for landing, no introduction, just a simple message sent on an open frequency. We're here. The Zarn heard the message too. They laughed. To them, humans were just another minor species, loud, emotional, chaotic. 30 years ago, they could barely hold a line in battle. The Zarn had studied their history and found more arguments than victories. A warlike race with too many opinions, too little discipline. If anything, the Zarn welcomed the humans. It would be fun to crush them again. So they sent one of their patrol fleets to greet the newcomers. 10 strong destroyers, each twice the size of a human cruiser, armed with plasma rings, ion missiles, and tractor claws. They found the humans in the dark space near asteroid field 27. No movement, just silence. The Zarn commander sent a message. Turn back. This is not your war. He waited. No answer. He tried again, louder. You will be destroyed if you continue forward. Still no answer. He leaned forward, angry now. You have been warned, prepare to be erased. Then the human ships moved, not with panic, not with speed, but with purpose. The front formation shifted into a diamond pattern. Small escort ships began to spin around the larger ones. Energy signatures rose. Then the first human weapon fired. Not a beam. Not plasma. It was a solid metal slug, traveling faster than light. It went straight through the Zarn flagship's shield and punched a hole clean through its center. The battle lasted 38 seconds. Back at the Volari outpost, the officer watched the live feed with wide eyes. He turned to his captain. Did you see that? I did, the captain whispered. They didn't even take damage. The human ships didn't celebrate. They didn't even slow down. They reformed into their travel formation and continued, forward, straight into Zarn space. That was when the galaxy began to wake up. Rebel groups in hiding suddenly became active. Secret bases blinked to life. Messages passed between species that hadn't spoken in years. The humans are back. They've changed. They came ready. Far away, deep in the heart of the Sol system, Earth was calm. High above the planet, in orbit, the command ship HFS Atlas floated like a silver mountain in space. Inside, Admiral Rain stood before a large star map. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. They saw us coming, said his second-in-command, Commander Dax. They didn't expect what we've become. Rain nodded slowly. Good. Dax looked at the map. Should we send a message to the Council? Rain thought for a moment, then he shook his head. Let them watch. Let everyone watch. We're not here to ask for approval. He pointed to the center of the map, a system called Xerxes Prime, the current command base of the Zarn Dominion. That's our target. Dax raised an eyebrow. That deep in enemy space. Rain smiled for the first time in days. Then we better get moving. In just a few hours, word had spread to every edge of the galaxy. The humans had returned, but not as diplomats, not as traitors, and not as victims. They had returned as something new, something dangerous, something the galaxy had never seen before. Storm had arrived and the Zarn were still laughing, though not for much longer. The Zarn Dominion was confused. They had just lost a patrol fleet, 10 warships without even scratching the surface of the human formation. That had never happened before. Not to them. Not in centuries. Their commanders called it a lucky shot. A surprise attack. A trick. They were wrong. As the news of the defeat spread, the Zarn sent another force. This one was larger. 20 ships, heavier weapons, advanced scanning systems. They were ordered to study the human fleet, test its defenses, and report back. But this second fleet never sent a message. Their signal went dark 3 minutes after contact. Gone. On board the HFS Fury, Captain Alara Kincaid watched the tactical display as the last Zarn vessel blinked out of existence. Her face was calm. Her crew was silent, professional. This was not new to them. Alara stood up from her command chair and walked toward the central display. Blue holograms of ship formations rotated in the air around her. "Status?" she asked. "Fleet integrity is at 100%, replied her first officer, a tall man named Reyes. "No damage taken. Shields barely warmed up. Any communication from the enemy?" "None. They didn't expect our weapons to hit that hard, or that fast." Ilara nodded. "They're still using plasma drives and pulse cannons." Reyes chuckled. "We've moved far beyond that." 30 years ago, after the border conflict, Earth had made a choice. While the rest of the galaxy kept upgrading old weapons and copying old tech, humanity went in a different direction. They focused on 3 things: precision, adaptability, and teamwork. Human ships weren't just powerful, they were fast, agile, and smart. Their systems could adjust during battle. Their weapons could change targets mid-fire. And most important of all, they were still crewed by real people. No artificial pilots. No remote command. Every human ship had a full crew trained to the highest standard. They trained together, lived together, fought together. They didn't just fly machines, they became them. The Zarn, meanwhile, believed in numbers. Their ships were built in huge factories, piloted by command drones, directed by a central AI. This had worked for hundreds of years, but against humans it wasn't enough. The next Zarn force arrived with 50 ships. It was a serious challenge, the kind that would normally crush any enemy. Alara studied the incoming data. "They're coming in wide," Reyes said, "trying to surround us." Ilara didn't blink. "Open formation. Bring up the halberds." From the hangars of the HFS Fury and several nearby carriers, small attack craft launched, sleek black ships called halberds. They moved like birds, fast and sharp, flanking the enemy before they could even react. Within 1 minute, the enemy formation broke apart. Within 2 minutes, the Zarn fleet turned and ran. The human fleet didn't follow. They had no interest in chasing shadows. They moved forward, deeper into enemy territory with slow and steady confidence. In the command room of the Council of Allied Species, the leaders of dozens of worlds watched in silence. The Valari, the Serani, the Thraka, all of them had doubted. The humans. Now they watched replay after replay of impossible battles. They saw ships that moved in perfect rhythm, weapons that bent space to change direction mid-flight, shields that learned after every impact. A Serani elder leaned forward and said, "We didn't just underestimate them, we misunderstood them." "Oh," Thraka warlord grunted. "They're not just here to fight, they're here to win." In the outer colonies, alien resistance groups began to rise. Inspired by the humans, they stopped hiding. They began fighting back in small ways. disrupting Zarn supplies, spreading hope across the stars. A whisper passed between systems like fire in dry grass. The humans came prepared. They are not the same. We are not alone anymore. Back on the HFS Fury, Alara stood in front of her crew during the daily mission brief. She pointed to a star system on the map. This is Denova system. It holds a major Zarn listening post. If we take it out, we break their early warning network for the entire eastern sector. A young officer raised his hand. We're going to attack it directly? No, Alara said. We're going to walk through it. The room went quiet. Then she smiled. I want them to watch us coming. I want them to see us take it. Because when they do, they'll realize this isn't just a fight anymore. This is a turning point. That night, as the human fleet moved toward Denova, a quiet moment passed over the stars. Inside their ships, human crew members checked their gear, ran final tests, and looked out windows at unfamiliar constellations. No fear, no doubt, just focus. This was not just another war. This was a message to the galaxy. Humanity doesn't run. Humanity doesn't forget. And when they return, they come stronger than before. The Zarn had started the fire, but now the fire had learned to fly. The Denova system was silent. Once it had been a busy network of communication stations and supply routes for the Zarn Dominion. Large listening towers floated in orbit, scanning deep space. Dozens of signal arrays pointed in every direction, watching for threats. Now those towers drifted quietly, many of them dark and offline. The human fleet had arrived. And everything had changed. Captain Alara Kincaid stood on the bridge of the HFS Fury, arms crossed behind her back. Her crew worked calmly around her, checking energy readings and scanning the system ahead. Any resistance? She asked. Minimal, Reyes replied. Most of the Zarn forces ran before we got close. A few stayed behind, but they're not organized. Alara turned to the large forward window, where the Denova relay floated in space. A giant structure shaped like a ring, once used to monitor and control nearby sectors. Now it was half lit, half broken. We don't need to destroy it, she said. We just need to show them we could. Reyes nodded. Understood. Broadcasting now. Across the galaxy, on open communication channels, a signal appeared. First, static, then a voice. Clear, confident, human. This is Captain Alara Kincaid, of the HFS Fury. We are now in control of the Denova system. We faced no real resistance. Your outposts were abandoned, your ships, gone. We are not here to talk peace. We are not here to ask for mercy. We are here because we gave you 30 years to change, and you didn't. The message echoed through Zarn space. It reached stations, ships, governors, even high command. Many Zarn officers ignored it at first, but some listened, some began to worry. Far from the front lines, in a deep bunker beneath the Zarn capital world, Supreme Strategist Quarn watched the message in silence. His advisors shifted nervously. We underestimated them, one of them whispered. Quarn didn't speak for a full minute. Then he said, No, we didn't underestimate them. We forgot them. He stood and walked to a wall-sized display of the galaxy. Human fleet markers moved like fire through sectors the Zarn once controlled. Calm, controlled, unstoppable. Quarn narrowed his eyes. And now they are reminding us who they are. Back in Denova, the humans were not celebrating. They didn't slow down. After sending the message, the fleet split into smaller groups, each one heading to different targets. Fuel depots, weapon stations, transport hubs, every move was planned. Every action quick and efficient. Alara watched as one of their recon ships returned from a sweep. Report, she said. The pilot responded. We found 3 abandoned Zarn cruisers. No damage, just empty. They ran? Yes, Captain. Left everything behind. Computers, supplies, even food still on the tables. Reyes whistled softly. That's not fear. That's panic. Alara gave a short nod. Good. Let them panic. Elsewhere in the galaxy, a change was happening. Small resistance groups, once too afraid to act, were now rising. On the mining world of Kethra 9, a group of Valari engineers took control of a Zarnor station. On Zenthal Moon, a Thraka rebel leader broadcast a rallying call. If the humans stand, so will we. The humans had lit a spark. The galaxy was catching fire. A few hours later, on the Fury's bridge, a communication request came in. Not from a human ship, but from a Valari cruiser. They're asking to speak with you directly, said the comms officer. Alara raised an eyebrow. Put them through. A tall, blue-skinned Valari commander appeared on the screen. His voice was firm but respectful. Captain Kincaid, I am Commander Nitel of the Valari Confederacy. I have watched your actions. The Council hesitated, but you did not. I wish to offer assistance. Our fleet is small, but we are ready to fight. Alara didn't smile, but there was a light in her eyes. We're not here to lead you, she said. But if you're ready to stand, we won't let you fall alone, Nitel nodded. Then we stand together. More ships joined the humans in the days that followed. A Serani scout team, a band of Vorton pilots. Even a small Thraka battleship appeared, its stone-skinned captain offering nothing but a quiet nod, and his ship's guns. Humanity had entered the war zone alone, but now the galaxy was waking up. Later in her quarters, Alara looked at a small photograph on her desk. It showed Earth's night sky. Cities lit up, peaceful. She picked it up and held it for a moment. This is why we fight, she whispered. There was a soft knock on the door. Reyes stepped in. We're ready for the next jump. Alara stood. Where to? Torva Prime. Oh, pause. That's a command world? Yes. Full Zarn military base. Heavy defenses, but it controls 3 systems. If we take it, Alara finished his sentence. We break their backbone. She looked out the window at the stars. Then let's go. The message had been sent, not just through words, but through action, through precision, through silence that spoke louder than explosions. The humans didn't need banners or anthems. They didn't ask for applause, they simply moved forward, and every wreckage they left behind whispered the same thing. We're here, and we are not turning back. Torva Prime was known as the heart of the Zarn Dominion's power. It was a fortress planet surrounded by layers of defense. Massive space stations floated in orbit, guarded by fleets of dreadnoughts and heavy cruisers. On the surface, towering, walls and energy shields protected the command centers. The Zarn called it the Unbreakable. For centuries, no enemy had ever come close. Now, the human fleet was heading straight for it. Captain Alara Kincaid stood on the bridge of the HFS, Fury watching the massive planet come into view. The planet was dark, covered in thick clouds and streaked with glowing cities. Around it, dozens of Zarn warships formed a ring, their weapons ready. Reyes, standing beside her, pointed to the holographic display. They've gathered everything they have, he said. Dreadnoughts, plasma fortresses, missile platforms, it's a killing field. Alara nodded slowly. Good, let them prepare. Inside the HFS Atlas, Admiral Rain gave his orders. The human fleet moved like a well-oiled machine, every ship in position. This is not just a fight, he said. It's a message. We're showing the galaxy what humanity can do when pushed to the edge. On his screen, the fleet's formation changed. Smaller ships moved forward in front, carrying the shock troops. Carriers and cruisers stayed behind, ready to support. As the human fleet approached the outer defenses, Zarn sensors detected movement. Alarms blared on the command world. The Zarn Supreme Commander Skarn clenched his fists. They come again, he growled. Prepare the plasma rings, no mercy. The battle began, but not with loud explosions, not with blinding beams. Instead, it was a quiet, precise strike. The first move came from the HFS Atlas itself. From its hangars, dozens of Terran shock marines, launched in drop pods, small armored capsules designed to enter a planet's atmosphere at high speed. They skipped through the clouds like stones over water, landing inside the Zarn's outer perimeter before anyone even saw them coming. On E, the ground, the shock marines moved fast. They disabled power grids, jammed communications, and took control of key defense towers. Above, the human fleet launched coordinated strikes. Energy weapons cut through Zarn shields, while kinetic missiles targeted weapon platforms. But the humans didn't waste firepower on the outer defenses. Instead, they used precision, a hallmark of their tactics. Alara watched as the Zarn warships tried to respond but found their weapons failing one by one. Inside the Zarn command center, Skarn barked orders. Stop them. Destroy their landing zones. But it was too late. The shock marines had already secured critical points. Energy shields on the planet flickered. Defense systems went dark. Reyes turned to Alara. The perimeter is down. Alara's voice was steady. Now we take the heart. The shock marines moved toward the central command complex. Their advance was swift and coordinated. Zarn soldiers tried to fight back, but the shock troops were too well trained, too well prepared. Within 10 minutes, the Marines reached the command throne. Captain Alara Kincaid was there to receive the surrender of the Zarn governor. The governor's eyes were wide. He expected humans to be loud, violent, reckless. Instead, Alara was calm. She offered her hand. We're not here to destroy you, she said. We're here to end this war. Back in space, the human fleet tightened its grip. With the planet's defenses disabled, Zarn warships began to retreat. But the humans didn't chase. Instead, they held their ground. Admiral Rain looked at the reports. Torva Prime is ours, he said quietly. Less than an hour, Reyes added. Alara smiled, a rare warmth in her eyes. We did what no one believed possible. The galaxy was watching. News of the fall of Torva Prime spread like wildfire. Alien resistance groups were inspired. The Council of Allied Species saw hope. The Zarn Dominion was shocked. Their strongest world was lost in less than an hour. In the quiet moments after the battle, Alara and her crew prepared for the next phase. This war isn't over, she reminded them. But today we showed the galaxy one truth. Humanity is not just back. We are here to stay. After the fall of Torva Prime, the galaxy began to change. The humans did not stop. They moved forward, pushing deeper into the Zarn Dominion. But something new was happening. Not just battles and victories, but alliances. The alien races that once watched from the sidelines now stepped into the light. They came not as followers, but as partners. On the bridge of the HFS Fury, Captain Alara Kincaid looked at the latest reports. Ships from the Valari Confederacy, the Serani Collective, and even the Thraka clans were joining the fight. Commander Nitel of the Valari was aboard the Fury, standing beside her. His blue skin showed signs of battle, but his eyes held hope. We Zarn never thought we would see this, Nitel said quietly. A galaxy united. Alara nodded. We never fought alone. We just needed others to believe. Across the war zone, joint operations began. Human pilots flew alongside alien craft. Soldiers from different worlds trained together. Intelligence was shared. Strategy became a combined effort. This was a new kind of war. At a secret base on the moon of Zenthal, representatives of the allied races gathered. Humans, Valari, Serani, and Thraka sat around a large table, maps and holograms lighting the room. Commander Nitel stood and addressed the group. We have been enemies too long, he said. But the fire the humans brought showed us a new way, a way to fight together. The room was silent, then slowly heads nodded. Alara spoke next. We fight not just for survival, but for freedom, for every species that has suffered under the Zarn yoke. She looked around the room. Today, we stand united. The Zarn Dominion felt the pressure. Their fleets were no longer facing disorganized resistance. They faced a united front, stronger and smarter than ever before. In the capital, Supreme Strategist Quarn grew restless. They fight with fire, he said. But fire can be controlled. It can be put out. But deep down, even Quarn knew the truth. The humans and their allies were more than fire. They were a storm. In space, joint fleets carried out daring missions. Human fighters covered Valari bombers. Thraka warships guarded Serani transports. Ilara led one of these fleets. Together with Commander Nitel and Serani Captain Lyra, they planned strikes against key Zarn supply lines. Their success inspired hope. One evening, after a long day of battle planning, Ilara and Nitel watched the stars from the Fury's observation deck. Nitel spoke quietly. You humans have a way of bringing people together. It is not just your strength, but your spirit. Ilara smiled. We've learned that we're stronger together. Nitel nodded. Then we will stand side by side until the war is over. Back on the front lines, the united forces pushed. The Zarn-backed Zarn colonies were freed. Prison camps were shut down. Resistance fighters gained new ground. The galaxy was changing, slowly, system by system. But the war was not yet finished. The Zarn had one last stronghold, their homeworld. It was heavily defended, the final test of the Alliance's strength. Ilara stood before her crew, her voice steady. This is where we prove ourselves. This is where the war ends. Her crew listened, ready. The message of unity, strength, and hope burned bright. The fire the humans started had become a blaze that no enemy could stop. Together, they would end the war. Together, they would build a new future. The final battle was near. The Zarn homeworld, Vortak Prime, stood silent and proud in the dark reaches of the galaxy. Its massive cities and towering spires were protected by the strongest fleets and the most advanced defenses ever built. For 1,000 years, the Zarn Dominion had ruled from Vortak Prime. No enemy had dared challenge its might. Until now. Captain Ilara Kincaid stood on the bridge of the HFS Fury, watching the vast fleet assembled for the last fight. The human ships were joined by allies from many races, Valari, Serani, Thraka, and others ready to stand together. The silence was heavy. Ilara looked around at her crew. Their faces were calm but determined. This is the moment we've trained for, she said softly. No second chances. Admiral Rain's voice came over the comms, steady and clear. All ships, prepare for jump to Vortak Prime orbit. This is the final strike. We end this today. The fleet began to move, stars streaking as they jumped through space. The Zarn Supreme Commander Skarn waited on the bridge of his flagship, watching the incoming fleet. His face was hard, eyes cold. They come for the end, he said to his officers. We will show them what the Zarn are. As the fleets arrived in orbit, the battle began. Zarn dreadnoughts unleashed waves of plasma fire. Defense grids lit up the planet with energy shields and missile barrages, but the humans and their allies did not falter. On the HFS Fury, Captain Ilara ordered her crew with calm precision. Shields up. Focus fire on the dreadnought to starboard. Prepare boarding teams. Small ships launched from the carriers, fighters, bombers, and boarding pods. The battle was fierce but quick. The human fleet's weapons were precise. Their coordination was perfect. The Zarn defenses, powerful as they were, could not keep up. Within minutes, the Zarn dreadnoughts began to fall one by one. Below, on the planet, Allied ground forces landed. Shock Marines, Valari soldiers, and Serani. Engineers worked together to take key positions. Energy shields that protected the cities dropped. Zarn soldiers surrendered or retreated. Back in orbit, Captain Ilara watched the final moments. The largest Zarn cruiser, the Shadowfang, was burning. It sent out a distress signal. Ilara ordered, "Open channel." The screen flickered and the face of Supreme Commander Skarn appeared. Skarn's eyes were sharp but tired. You fight well, human, but this war will never end. Ilara shook her head. This ends now. Not with hatred, but with hope. She lowered her voice. The galaxy is big enough for all of us, but only if we stop fighting. Skarn hesitated. Then slowly he nodded. Agreed. He signaled his ship to stand down. At that moment, the battle stopped. The fleet fell silent. The war, after 1,000 years, was over. Captain Alara Kincaid looked out at the stars. She thought of Earth, of the humans who had waited so long to return. She smiled. We did it. The galaxy would remember this minute, the minute that ended a millennium of war, the minute humanity showed what it truly meant to be united, strong, and fearless.